Well, good evening, fellow explorers and explorettes. Hello, Casey. Hope you guys went to the bathroom. It's going to be a long ride. I have a feeling a little salty today, if you can't tell.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Jennifer, how you
Hey
doing,
there.
sister?
I'm well. How are you doing? You doing good?
I'm doing good.
That's good.
It's just one of those salty days where everything's
Okay.
pissing me off.
Yeah.
Maybe not pissing me off, just rubbing me the wrong way and
Yeah.
making me a little salty because some days I just wonder how we ever got to where we got to. And then I think about, well, the reason we got to where we got to is because of the way everybody is.
Yeah. I know.
So I just, I don't know. Today's
It's
just one of
hard.
those days. I have a feeling the memes are going to be a little salty today too.
Uh-huh.
Um,
That's okay.
I, but yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm just,
It's
I,
good. It's good we have these different times that we feel this way, and it's good that you're able to, just express that because some days I'm a little more salty. I'll use that because I like that because I call myself salty graham cracker. So I can be more of the salty graham cracker at times, and that's why I've had to lighten up a lot because I could stay in a boiled mood at all times just about, but I have to laugh it off. That's the only way I'm going to be able to get through it. Hey, Casey. Oh gosh, that little girl's so cute. She's
that's what
probably like in her 20s now, right? Hasn't she been around for a minute?
she's been around for a while, but
That's
it's
funny.
kind of what I feel like right now. Just
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
going out back, having a smoke or something, even though I don't smoke anymore.
Right. It
Um,
makes you want to.
but,
I know. Listen, trust me. I really do understand. And it's good, to have outlets because this clown show is just so unreal. Like I know how you're feeling. Like I do have those days where
but you just had a show. I don't know if it was this morning or hey Karen or yesterday, but um, I could tell you were a little bit on the uh, well.
what was the subject matter? I'm trying to remember.
I just funny because I want to show everybody because
Okay. Hey Becky.
it's worth watching.
Oh boy.
All
I'm
right, let's go
ready.
over subscriptions. Jennifer Eason.
I'm scared.
No, the where is it? The 1994, the crime bill in that video.
Oh wow. Wasn't that a doozy?
Yeah, that was good.
Bill.
But it just goes to show that. Oh, hey Becky, how you doing? It just goes to show that. I guess people. It's not my. I'm starting to the point where it's not my responsibility to help people understand what I'm saying when I'm saying the truth.
Mhm.
And if I present something to somebody and they don't understand it,
Mhm.
I'm getting out of the business of trying to make it feel like it's my fault that they don't understand it.
Oh yeah,
So
I see. Yeah.
the truth is the truth in a lot of cases. I always, when I say something, I always either preface it with, I don't know, do your own research, or I preface it with, I've already done the research. Here's the link to it. And so for those people that just feel like vampires in sunlight when the truth is presented to them, that's not my fault. That's not. So if
Right.
you're going to be a blood-sucking creature of the night and the truth just burns you alive, God's the only one that can help you. I'll just put it that way.
Truly.
So sorry about starting like that, folks, but now we can get started. I got that off my chest, and
Yeah, you got to do that
so
sometimes. Hey, Karen. Yeah. Casey, look at that. Karen, Casey, Becky.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, we're all going through, I think, similar emotions where some days are a little easier to tolerate. I think it's a level of toleration because today I have to admit, John, I saw a commercial for nuclear preparedness. So now they're bombarding the scaredy cats with nuclear, and it's like, go inside.
I
These guys
thought
are
is
looking.
that the one from New York?
Oh, I saw that one. You should see the one from Ventura County. You will not.
Okay.
They had to scrub it. It was that bad. But Paul Romano, if you go to his station, he happened to catch it, and it is worse than the one from New York. The guy is literally outside looking at a nuclear explosion over the mountains, and he's looking and watching it, and he's asking himself, "What should I do right now?" Like,
At least it didn't start like the New York one. So you survived a nuclear blast. Like,
no,
yay, good for
no,
you.
it is worse. It is worse, John. He picks up a guitar. It's unreal.
But you know what that means? They're always projecting. So on one of the two coasts or both coasts, something's going to happen. There's going to
Yeah.
be a scare, whether it's, and I pray for the people that live in both of those areas that nothing happens, but
Mhm. Yeah.
it could be a false alarm off the coast somewhere, like it miraculously falls short of the coast and explodes in the ocean or something.
Mhm.
But in the last 2 weeks, you had Nancy Pelosi. Well, they're always trying to start World War III, but personally tried to start World War III. And then you have North Korea basically having a parade saying, okay, our nuclear arsenal's ready. We're ready to take on the United States anytime now. And then you have China saying, well, if you go to Taiwan, we're going to get a little pissed and we're going to protect our sovereignty. And then you have China willing to or offering to send troops into Ukraine for Russia. And so I just think there's, this is totally, I'm sorry, folks, this is totally unrelated to this show, but Jennifer and I, in other realms, do stuff like this or talk about this stuff. So I'm just going to put it out there. If you live in one of those two liberally controlled areas that always seem to get the brunt of all the bad stuff, like 9/11 and all the other bad stuff, I really pray for you guys. I hope nothing happens, but something's brewing, something's bubbling, and it's going to pop pretty soon. So just keep on your toes.
Yeah.
And watch the crazy nuclear preparedness videos
Yeah, I hate
and
to
play your guitar.
be that way either, John. I know that's hard to do. Like, we got Karen, our sister here, in New York, and is Casey? No, Casey's not in. You're a flyover state, right, Casey?
I think
And
Casey's in
Lady
Indiana.
Knievel, I don't think you're on a coast either, Lady Knievel. Hey there, but just out of concern for them starting this rhetoric where it was New York, they did it. It was ridiculous. We kind of brushed it off, but now they have Ventura, which is a little bit above LA,
Yep.
and their nuclear disaster things. They're scaring people. They're using children in the commercials. Real typical,
I
like
know.
ball stuff, and that's horrible to start scaring children about nuclear. A nuclear attack because they've been bombarded, and I've heard that the developmental delays that are being seen in that generation that came through, the COVID babies, as I hate that they call them, but they say that their development is really lagging, and this fear frequency that they have people on, it's so much, and I've never seen anything like it. I know no one has, but it's like the monkeypox, and then I hear people talking about they're afraid of it. They want to take a vaccine for it. They're already crying out for then I saw their face. I won't believe. great.
Good
Oh,
segue. Thank you.
oh boy. Yeah, so it's like, how can people even get up from their knees when they were afraid of all this stuff? And now I feel bad for them. It's more so like my heart really goes out to how fearful people are, and it's just too much.
Mhm.
You know, it's like the whole demoralization. We've never experienced anything like this. Unreal.
Yeah, and then New York followed up that video with another video. If you saw that one, it was about preparing your bug out bag.
Are you
So
serious?
no, I'm 100% serious. I've
Whoa.
had it on the show last week. So
Oh,
for those of you that have watched all the zombie apocalypse movies and all the alien attack movies and stuff like that, they always talk about bug out bags. Having a bug out bag ready. A bug out bag basically is just a bag sitting around like a duffel bag that's got stuff that you would need if you had to leave your house in an instant. So like personal, like important papers, some snack food, water, clothes, whatever you could fit in this bag and leave in a minute. So they made a video basically, well, what should you put in your bug out bag? What kind of things would so and so put in there? What do you think? Would it be snacks? Would it be water? It was like a freaking Sesame Street commercial.
wow.
But something is brewing. Something
Yeah,
is brewing,
it is.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
shame on them. But
Yeah, shame on them is right, and it's good to acknowledge it because I think that we have a segment of the truther community that brushes everything off and just says that it's all being taken care of. I get that, but people that live in certain places should be looking at things and being aware, not in a paranoid way, but, you know, in a way of like, if say for instance, if I was still living in Harlem, I could walk to work instead of taking the subway. I really could. And
Mhm.
all I have to do is just prepare myself to do it. Like just leave a little early and just allow for a little more time where I could have, avoided being down below the ground a lot. You see what I'm saying? It's little things like that you may want to consider, just options and being aware, because we've heard them already cyber rattling like a few years back about suitcase nukes. That was a
Yeah,
big,
dirty bombs as they're
yeah,
called.
the dirty bomb thing was a big scare. Alex Jones was on the horn with that one. And I did have a bug out bag. I'm going to admit, I had a bug out bag for me and my daughter, had one by the door, then had one in the trunk. You know,
Hmm.
I think that was around the time of when they were doing the active war, with the Taliban, Al Qaeda, always talking about these people and these things. These guys are they're ridiculous.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't blame anybody for being prepared, and I think you should be prepared. But and you probably should have a bug out bag if you live in one of those cities or one of those areas. So, with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about how we got here. So, this is a segue into the show. Created my own segue there. We're going to talk about one of the overlords, one of the original overlords, and we're going to talk about Mr. Rockefeller. Um, the suppression of natural medicine is specifically what I'm going to talk about, and anything good for people is what I'm. So consider that instead of natural medicine, anything that would help you live a natural, long life. Suppression. So just keep that in the back of your head.
Right.
Homeopathy and natural medicines were mocked and demonized. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
And doctors were even jailed.
Wow.
So, with that being said, I want to go to this website here. Oh, here's a picture of it, and then I'll go to the website. But I do this to myself so I don't have to try to remember the link.
Mhm.
But look at that. First of all, that face.
I
That is
didn't
just
want to
one of
say
the
it.
most evil looking faces I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, John. I didn't want to say it, but he's one of the ugliest looking things I've ever seen in my life. He looks dead already. Like he looks embalmed.
Looks like the
And
guy from Poltergeist.
oh my goodness, he looks every bit of evil that he was. Unbelievable how someone could, but evil, the type of evil that the Rockefellers um, embody. And I went to a school that was endowed through and through, HBCU, by Rockefellers, named after Rockefeller, Spelman
That's
College.
Rockefeller Foundation.
Yeah, and all these like Rockefeller women, and they just like they're all through our society, and just to think that they have done all of this damage, unbelievable.
Sorry, I'm typing. It's a long link.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, the Casey said, yeah, it looks evil and dead. It does. Like even at a youthful age, this thing looked old
Mm-hmm.
and embalmed.
All right, let's see if that. Good. It took me there. Sometimes when I do this, I end up in the wrong spot.
Lord,
So,
only a
all right.
mother could love it. It looks dead. It looks like a mummy.
Yeah, exactly.
An
Very like it's
unwrapped
like
mummy.
controlled by some kind of evil entity, like
Ooh.
hollow eyes.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Good
So let's see.
Lord.
All right,
And
well,
the
everybody wants you to accept their dang cookies. So anyway,
oh,
but yeah,
boy.
I mean that's
And that lace front, that looks like a lace front wig that it's wearing.
yeah,
Unreal
it does with
front,
that,
doesn't
especially
it?
with that. Look
Yeah.
at that nice little.
Yeah, it's a lace front wig.
So I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this whole article. It's not a huge article, but I want people to really understand. This is just one tentacle, one facet of how we got here. One of those. I think he was the first what they called robber baron. So
Oh.
you thought big oil was bad, but the Rockefeller family also set the stage for big pharma destroying natural cures in the process. Author Chris Canthan has written an amazing article on how the Rockefeller family undermined modern society in countless ways. But what most do not realize is just how much they wiped out natural cures. The family name has now been linked to the suppression of natural medicine to found big pharmaceutical companies and make big money. Here's what Chris wrote for World Affairs. People these days look at you like a weirdo if you talk about the healing properties of plants or any other holistic practices. Much like anything else, there is a lot of politics and money behind our modern medical system. No shiz.
Mhm.
It all starts with John D. Rockefeller, born in 1839, that one of our favorite time periods through 1937, who was an oil magnate, a robber baron. I love that phrase, robber baron. That just is like one of those onomatopoetic things. Like it just,
Right.
you hear it, you know what it means.
Yeah, yeah.
America's first billionaire and a natural born monopolist. And I don't think they mean like playing Monopoly. So, but hey, maybe it was. Maybe they got the idea from him because he ran the board. By the turn of the 20th century, he controlled 90% of all oil refineries in the U.S. through his oil company, Standard Oil. We've all heard of Standard Oil. Remember this little logo over here?
Yeah.
Which was later on broken up to become Chevron, Exxon, Mobil, and etc. Let me see if I can open this image here, make it a little bigger. It's not getting any bigger. But anyway, you can see how the shell game happens, or the shell game's played with the controlled media and everything else. You have one entity, and then through all these little other entities that are owned by the same entity it gives you the illusion of choice. Like if you're pissed off at BP, I'm going to Marathon. Well, you're still going back here. And if you get pissed off at Marathon, I'm going to Chevron. Well, you're still kind of going back there.
That's
so same with the media companies. You basically have six entities that control all media around the world. And they give you the illusion of choice. They make it they break it down into so many levels that it's not apparent or immediately apparent who the parent company is. How many times can I say parent? So again, if you get mad at Disney, and I'm going to say this, it'll probably get this channel knocked down. But if you're talking about groomers and Disney and that kind of stuff, and you don't want to watch Disney anymore, and you go to whatever channel, it's probably one of those 6 companies. So anyway, I call them narrative companies. At the same time, around 1900, scientists discovered petrochemicals and the ability to create all kinds of chemicals from oil. For example, the first plastic called Bakelite, I didn't know that, was made from an oil in 1907. Scientists were discovering various vitamins and guessed that many pharmaceutical drugs could be made from oil. Interesting. Wow. This was a wonderful opportunity for Rockefeller, who saw the ability to monopolize the oil, chemical, and medical industries at the same time. Why not?
Wow.
The best thing about petrochemicals was that everything could be patented and sold for high profits. They always do this patent thing. They love patenting things. They don't like the little people knowing about this stuff. But there was one problem with Rockefeller's plan for the medical industry. Natural and herbal medicines were very popular in America at the time, and they were. Look at all and I hate to call them snake oil salesmen, but a lot of these people peddled natural cures for a lot of things.
Yeah. Look at the book Back to Eden.
Who wrote that? Back to Eden.
It's a family. Jethro. It's that family that I have that book. But they were, around with and it seemed to be well known, Jethro Kloss, Kloss. So they were, early 1900, 39, but around the time that the Rockefellers really started changing healthcare around. Their family had known all these natural ways of healing.
Yes. Becky said something that's funny. It's like, he reminds me of the movie Life Force. They suck the life out of you. I just watched that the other night with those space vampires.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's from like the 80s or like 82 or 83, whatever it was.
Okay.
It's one of those movies you watch late at night, and it's got a lot of naked women in it and stuff like that. And
oh gosh,
who are space vampires, and then it turns into like this zombie apocalypse of all these space vampires and whatever. And it's like, so yes, Becky, he does kind of look like that.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And Karen, laugh out loud. He's not even wearing a toupee, and you said,
that's funny, Karen. That's the first thing in my mind.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Let's see here. Almost half the doctors and medical colleagues, or colleges, I should say, in the U.S. were practicing holistic medicine using knowledge from Europe and Native Americans. Rockefeller, the monopolist, had to figure out a way to get rid of his biggest competition. So he used the classic strategy of problem, reaction, solution. We see that happening now too. Think Bill Gates and Fauci. That is, create a problem and scare people, and then offer a pre-planned solution. Similar to terrorism scare, followed by the Patriot Act. Remember 9/11? Okay, now we're going to make sure we search your butthole and everything else at the airports for your protection from terrorists.
Right.
The Patriot Act is one of the biggest impositions on your personal freedoms ever created. Just remember that.
I agree.
He went to his buddy Andrew Carnegie. Wherever heard that name before? Another plutocrat. God, he's using all kinds of interesting one-liners here. Another plutocrat who made his money from monopolizing the steel industry, who devised a scheme from the prestigious Carnegie Foundation. They always have foundations, you know that, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation. They always have foundations. I'm waiting for the Pelosi Foundation. They sent a man named Abraham Flexner. That sounds like a Chevy Chase character.
Flex.
That's a man named Abraham Flexner.
That's funny. That's a great name.
I'm picturing like Fletch or something like that, you know, like he's going deep cover. Abraham Flexner. To travel around the country and report on the status of medical colleges and hospitals around the country. Kind of like what China did over the last couple of decades by infiltrating all the businesses around our country and at state and local level and all the school boards and that kind of stuff. So think about that too. This led to the Flexner Report, which gave birth to the modern medicine as we know it. Needless to say, the report talked about the need for revamping and centralizing our medical institutions. Think, you know, you see all these big hospital chains now, like you don't have individual hospitals and doctors and stuff. They're all part of like this bigger conglomerate. Like it's hard to find like a mom and pop doctor anymore because they're all part of these. Like around here, you've got the dominion of the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals. So if you're a doctor practicing around here, you're probably part of one of those too.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you guys have down there?
Well, in this smaller market, it was a hospital system that did that, cannibalized every small hospital, and they became their own system. So they have ruined actually the medical system by doing it really greedy and just so wicked. So I've watched a lot of the hospitals get, bought up by actually foreign entities too. Yes. Remember when a lot of the hospital systems started becoming these other names, and happened in most big cities.
It is all a money machine. And I hate to say this, medicine has changed a lot, even in the last 10 years. And and I don't know, I'm not talking for every doctor, but there seems to be a big majority of doctors that, based on their actions, I'm not going to say them specifically, or call them out specifically, but based on their actions, they only care about money and they do not care about you. Mm-hmm. Right. It's not about you anymore. It's about treating symptoms, and it's about perpetually keeping you on chemicals and, keeping stuff in your body that's not natural. And right. Look at, and we're going to get to a video at some point too that I had in one of my old folders that talks about skin cancer. And skin cancer wasn't a thing until after people started eating processed foods. Oh. So we'll talk about that too. But there's just, hey, Kimberly, how you doing?
Hey, Kimberly, welcome.
So you can kind of see where this is going. You have somebody in this era of whatever you want to call it, a lot of free thinkers and Jennifer and I have talked about this before, these individuals that seem to have all these different jobs and all these different talents, like lawyer, author, robber baron, train guy, steel guy, and they all have all these, so they're running the table on the hapless people around the country who are literally trying to eke out an existence and carve a niche for themselves, try to establish a life in the United States. Remember, a lot of people were still moving west too, and you had the expansion with the railroads and the gold miners out west, and dealing with Native Americans and other just problems that come up when you're literally traveling out in the middle of nowhere that's never been explored, and it's wild. And so you have people dealing with that, and then you have these people that seemingly have this money from, they just have this influence and this power, and then they just decide that I think this is how I want the world to look. So I think, how am I going to do that? I'm going to get some people involved. We'll make it happen. And so anyway, continuing on. Based on this report, more than half of all medical colleges were soon closed. Homeopathy and natural medicines were mocked. Okay, we even talked about that. To help with the transition and change the minds of the doctors and scientists, and this is kind of what's happening today too. Rockefeller gave more than 100 million to colleges, hospitals, and founded a philanthropic front group called General Education Board, GEB. This is the classic carrot and stick approach. This whole paragraph right here is exactly what has been rinsed and repeated since then. Don't you think, Jennifer?
Yep. Nope, better. Yeah, I see it better. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Casey says, I would be dead had I listened to a doc in IU. I went for second opinion outside of IU. Needless to say, I'm here. Well, that's awesome.
Oh,
God
wow.
bless you. Let's see here. In a very short period of time, medical colleges were all streamlined and homogenized. All the students were learning the same thing, and medicine was all about using patented drugs. And think about it right now, too. I mean, some people may not know this, but even since I was a kid, I noticed this. You would always, whenever you'd go to the doctor, they would always have all these samples laying around of different, even like of erythromycin and all these different antibiotics and stuff like that.
Right.
And my doctor would always say, all right, John, I'm going to give you an antibiotic, blah, blah, blah. Here, I've got some samples of XYZ, blah, blah, blah. So it seemed like it was a good thing because I wasn't paying for him because he was giving me the samples.
Right.
And he seemed like he was doing the right thing because the pharmaceutical rep did not charge him for them. He can give them freely to his patients.
Right.
And it just became a big business. You know, all these reps are like fighting with each other it's to get into these doctors' offices, especially ones that have big practices.
Oh, yeah.
And the nurses and the staff look forward to it too, because they buy them the best lunches and everything else, and baseball tickets and football tickets. And
yeah, I did it for 10 years.
Well, there you go. Well, you know that.
You know, it is despicable. And when I did it, it was in the heyday. They've clamped down now because, you know, everybody could see it. Especially, I used to feel bad when I was going into doctor's offices and patients are waiting in the lobby for a long time, and then I get ushered back because I brought breakfast for everybody. So, you know, and you know, patients are looking at that, you know, and we're all dressed in suits and stuff, and we're giving out pens and pads, and you know, they're watching it. And I think it came to a day of reckoning, and now you're not allowed to do anything. I've heard it's not fun. So yeah, it is. I'm gonna do a deep dive on the pharmaceutical industry because they're in my crosshairs right now. I happen to see a commercial the other day, and I'm asking many people, if you don't mind, I'm asking everyone right now to let me know if you have seen this commercial. It is a direct to consumer ad geared towards children for a pharmaceutical product. I've never seen such. It's unprecedented. I watched it. I was just watching TV and I happened to see this on the Food Channel. I was absolutely shocked. And I was frozen in just disbelief because it was geared for children. Can you imagine those ads that you watch? One for children only. And it was something like a pharmaceutical ad for, I mean, it was for a psychiatric condition. So they were talking about suicide as a side effect, all the stuff. And these are children, like 8-year-old children. And I was so beyond disturbed to see this. And they were rattling off, just like when you watch the regular pharmaceutical ads, they were rattling off all of the side effects. And it was a plethora of
and
them.
Death is usually one of them too.
Oh yeah. And I would have tried to record this commercial, but I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here and wait till it comes back on again. And I was like studying in front of the TV, just waiting for it, and didn't come back on. So I did a search. It must have been the first time they aired it.
Yeah.
But if anybody knows if they've seen a commercial that's just for children, please let John know, let me know, because I need to look into that, please. And thank you.
Yes, we need to get Jennifer on the case because I know once she gets her teeth into it, she won't come up for air for a while. So she'll get all the tidbits, the fiddly bits out. But think about the children are a perfect target, and they always have been on the sly, but they're getting open about it now. Children are always excited about things, especially when it's targeted towards them. If you have happy music and everybody seems to be smiling and fun things are happening in the picture, kids are attracted to it. It's like you're building the demand ahead of time. It's like around Christmas when they advertise certain toys or electronics and whatever. You're creating the demand because now the kids got the control. He or she has the power to go to the kitchen table or to go to say something in the car, in the car seat or whatever. I want XYZ. Mommy, I want blah, blah, blah. Can I have blah, blah, blah? So you're creating like an appeasement environment where a lot of parents just cave in and like, okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then the parents, if they see the commercial, they start to think, well, maybe there is something wrong with my kid. Maybe my kid does need this. I'm going to talk to my doctor about it. Hey, you know how people are right now with the Alphabet company, with Google and that kind of stuff. Everybody thinks they're experts on everything. They think they're doctors. They self-diagnose everything. So you're going to have parents on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else that's, you know, I think my kid has ADHD, or I think my kid has blah, blah, blah. I need to get medicine. Do any of you have recommendations? Maybe I should talk to my doctor. Oh, I remember seeing that commercial the other day. I wonder what drug that was. I can't remember. It looked like they were having fun and it looked like the kids were doing good. So maybe that'll help my kid.
You're right. And now, see, we're in a different era with social media. Just what you described, John, is how this can become a viral thing where people are being the armchair pediatricians. And there is a level of competition out there between parents, you know, where it's like, you want to be the parent that's on top of the information, you know, and you're, you know, a lot of parents virtue signal through their children. So
Right.
it's going to be a lot of that going on to make sure you're being the right socially responsible parent, giving your child all these jabs. But this particular medication looked like it was now getting into their heads. So the psychiatric aspect of it. And I'm really concerned because I feel a bit of guilt in a sense. I sat on some committees when they were first bringing direct to consumer ads. So I was on committees that were planning this very thing, bringing the drug ads to the consumers where you didn't see that before. You know, it was like around 90, I'm trying to think, 95, maybe 94, 95. And that opened up Pandora's box because people will watch a commercial and they'll go to their doctor and say, I want to be on this med.
Right.
So they're driving the decision, not the doctor.
And even one level above that, the pharmaceutical company's driving the decision, not the doctor. Mm-hmm. So the doctor is kind of in the middle. You got the pharmaceutical, they're getting their medical education about these drugs from the pharmaceutical reps.
Right.
And they're not actually going to school to learn any of this that I'm aware of anyway. It's not like they're like, as a real estate agent, for example, we have to take X number of hours every year of continuing education,
right,
to always keep up on the laws, anything new, anything that changes, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't see that happening with the medical community. It seems like the reps come in. Here's this wonderful, fantastic drug for this particular ailment, and I think you guys, you know, would do well to push this kind of thing. Here's a little incentive to help you push it. We'll pay for the commercials for your local office. So you can get out on the airwaves in your local community. You don't have to pay for all the television ads. We'll put your office at the bottom of the ad, or
Yeah.
whatever the case is.
Yeah. You're right.
Um,
They do that.
so again, free money, free.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna help perpetuate this for you as long as you use our product.
Yeah.
Uh,
As long as they write for the products and, um, well, actually, you know what? I want to say that with the preparation, similar to the credit hours that you take for different licensures, one of
mhm.
the things that they do in the pharmaceutical industry is they do send their people to a lot of trainings, a lot of meetings, and the equivalent of these trainings would probably be on the level of a master's level. I'm
Hmm.
really being serious. When I went into my pharmaceutical training, it was so intense. They sent us down to a resort in Florida. Can you imagine hundreds of people at a resort? And we were being taught by PharmDs, doctors, all kinds of scientific people from, pharmaceuticals and stuff. And they, of course, teach you what they want you to parrot, but they give you
Right.
this sense of entitlement over doctors, actually. So when you come in, you're positioned and postured to know more than the doctor. And in
Yep.
fact, I hate to tell you all, the pharmaceutical reps do know more than the doctors. I hate to break
Especially
this.
about a specific drug or like a
Oh, yeah.
group of drugs.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they're getting that kind of education about it and the doctor's not, they
Right.
are
The
going to be the
doctor's not.
experts on it.
And that's how they know they can get the authoritative edge with their reps, is that they send in, first of all, Barbie doll looking people like,
Right.
you know,
Pretty
and
sells. It's in every industry. Pretty sells. Everybody has that mantra.
yeah, and you're dressed a certain way, and they have the grooming and things, and so the doctor is overwhelmed, first of all, with a practice and then everything that goes with it. Then they're not going to all these continuing education meetings, because a lot of doctors are first time family men and women, and they've got all
Mhm.
this going on, so they don't have time to travel on the weekends to all these conferences and things. So the reps will literally know more than them.
Yeah, and that's a shame. It's a shame it's gotten to that point. But on the flip side, all of you parents and wives and mothers and fathers, you should be able to be very well armed when you go to your doctor's office with similar information. Like you should be able to arm yourself to be able to talk to your doctor and not let them try to bamboozle you with a lot of fancy words and blah blah blah, and then just here, take this for a week and we'll talk about it again, kind of thing, without questioning anything. So you have the because of technology, you have the opportunity to do your own research. Like if doctor prescribes a particular medicine, go do research on it. Who's the company that produces it? How long has it been made? Are there been any real clinical trials, not one that just says by experts, or that doesn't state a specific clinical trial, and the results, and make your own decisions. But I just think that
Mhm,
there's going to be another shift in the medical industry here in the near future, and I think it's for the good. I don't think it's for the worse, but I think it's for
mhm.
the good,
Yeah.
because of everything that's happened the last couple of years. I think it's created a new wave of, in addition to the Great Awakening, or as a result of it, created a wave or group. I see it all the time. I saw one early today where a doctor came on and basically gave a testimony and he admitted that he was looking at it from a monetary standpoint and not from his patient's standpoint,
Mhm,
and he felt so dirty and so like this is not why he got into the field to practice medicine. And so he basically came clean, and he wasn't expecting anything from anybody. He just had to get it off his chest. And he said there's a lot of people like me that aren't saying anything because a lot of people are afraid to lose their license or, whatever, which is a real thing. If that's your livelihood, you obviously don't want to lose your license. But it's a shame that it's gotten to the point where that threat is always looming for sticking up for what you believe in and what's right.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough of them now that are this impetus is kind of moving forward, and you're going to start seeing independent clinics and things like that, or independent chains of doctors' offices that practice what I call common sense medicine.
Right.
And not necessarily holistic, but common sense medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And which is what we need. We don't need to have every doctor on the planet a holistic doctor. It would be nice if we could figure out everything and go back to our roots and solve everything as holistic doctors, but step in the right direction would be to have common sense practices. So
Right. Yeah, back to what they used to have, independent. And that's what it's just like going back to local and, microcosms, and it includes the medical profession, going back to independent artists, practitioners, things like that. And just if they have a guild, that's not a bad thing to have a guild that they, self-govern.
mhm. Yeah, not necessarily a union, but a guild. The guild is actually, I think, a better word, and
Mhm.
because it implies professionalism to me.
Right.
When you hear the word guild, I
Mhm.
belong to a guild,
Right.
and a lot of old practices like blacksmithing and other stuff from the turn of the century and earlier, there were a lot of guilds for a lot of professions,
Yeah.
and they they were like they would bounce ideas off each other. It was just a nice place to have an sympathetic ear. Like if you had issues and you want to talk about something, or maybe
Mhm.
had a new idea about something, or a different way to
Right.
do something, or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think
Um,
that's nice. Yeah. And like you said, not everybody has to be holistic. I mean, they unalive so many holistic people over the years, probably over the last 20 years or so. So many strange, mysterious deaths for the holistic and naturopathic practitioners. But to have more of them, and then the OD doctors, the osteopathic doctors, they have
mhm.
a different approach, and I like osteopathic doctors. If you've all ever um, gone to one, or looked into it, that's another option. I know they tend to be in certain places because they've outlawed osteopathic education in a lot of places. We still have a college in Philadelphia for osteopathic medicine.
Hmm.
And they do more of, like you said, common sense things that it's not always like take a pill.
Right. Yes. And I don't know, and I can't wait to see what you come up with when you do your research, but I'd like to know where it started, that the mindset anyway. We're kind of talking about where it started, but the mindset of um, treating symptoms and not the actual problem, and
Mhm.
not trying to dig and find the problem. That is like the biggest thing right now. Like Julie was a couple years ago. We had gone through some things with her, and I was so mad the whole time because every doctor, for either in the emergency room or a referral doctor or whatever, a specialist. I hate to use the word specialist now because they're not.
Mhm.
Um, Nobody wanted to do any below the surface digging.
Mhm.
They were just going by, like, if it sounded like or whatever, they would, okay, well, here, we'll take this. Like, we'll give you some antibiotics or whatever. Or, maybe it's this.
Right.
Some of them use the word maybe, and
Mhm.
instead of actually doing a test, why don't you, like, we need a lot more. If you ever watch the show House, we need a lot more doctors like House.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that show?
I've heard of it. I have family members that like it, but I never really watched it, but I know what you're talking about. He's kind of a renegade, right?
Yes, but he gets to the bottom of it. He will go to the nth degree to figure it out. Like he
Nice.
won't just let it hang there. And
Right,
he will literally stay up in the middle of the night. Just his brain will be going, and like next day he'll come in. Okay, let's do this test. Maybe it's this, because some things have been known to hide behind this, or or present itself as this, or blah blah blah.
right, right.
So
Wow.
nobody's doing. There's not a lot. I'm not gonna say nobody, but there's not a lot of people that are doing that, and
No.
I think that's where you're getting all these people that are getting pushed to the internet to self-diagnose because they feel like they're not getting. It's like the doctor of self-service. Like you have to be your
Yeah.
own doctor, and you
No,
have to do your own digging because
yeah,
they're not doing it.
they're not anymore. And you know why? They have been put into boxes to go by protocols. So we're dealing with now doctors that follow org charts or you know what I'm saying? Like flow charts is what I mean. So all disease entities have come down to protocols or flow charts, and it all leads to the outcomes are all designed. Everything's already if you do your charting, it's standardized. They don't want you to be individual anymore. So I've watched that happen. So the protocols make it so that you're mindlessly just following a flow. Okay, the person has a cough, so I'm going to do this first and I'm going to do this second. And so you can check the boxes. Whereas doctors,
Mhm.
real doctors that you're talking about, they're more like investigators.
Right.
They're true and it's cost prohibitive because now that you have managed care, it took all of that away from the doctors. So if they go outside the protocols, that's money now, and they're going to be in trouble with the group. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be in the office like, why did you spend money doing this test when the flow chart said to do this test? You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, I
horrible.
want to address something in the chat right now too, because I have a feeling I'm going to bring it up on the show tomorrow. Kimberly stated the FBI raided Trump today,
Oh,
and Casey says it was Mar-a-Lago.
really?
And I just texted my co-host for Thursday morning show, Joseph DeMott, and he said, "Yep, FBI." So
Oh, this just broke?
it happened today. I don't know when, but
Oh.
so
Oh,
here's
wow.
another example of the weaponization of the Department of Justice.
Wow.
So
With everything happening with Hunter Biden and nothing's happened publicly with the
mhm,
FBI, but they see that's why I can't be connected anymore like that because I am at the point that I stay at a boil all the time, not even a low boil. I've had to like that's the stuff that makes me like I get too angry because I'm wondering why are we not just getting together and saying meet me in DC everybody, we're all getting together. Like it's really ridiculous everybody. I can't stay plugged in when it just
yeah.
seems
I
like
will say
that's
this will boomerang. This will be one of the largest boomerangs and non-events. So
that's right, Lady
eh,
Knievel. I'm gonna get my spoon and go to DC.
yeah, jeez. All right, so continuing on because I'm not going to think about that for now. I'm going to wait because it's already starting to piss me off. So we already know that I'm in a salty mood today.
Right, that's not what you need. Like I'm now salty like that
Yeah,
because that just it's the lack of accountability. I can't believe. Although I did hear CNN, Brian Stelza was talking about Hunter Biden. I was
I
shocked.
think he did that by accident, and I think it was not in the same context that people thought, but it came out that way. And I
Mhm.
think he's afraid of losing his job, and the CNN is afraid of closing its doors. So I think he's trying to get ahead of the narrative a little bit.
Oh.
He's good old egghead. He's just trying to protect his own skin.
Mhm.
But yes, to your point, at least some of the normies will latch on to that information and like, oh my God, CNN said, um, and then it'll be a thing to some people. when it's already been a thing to everybody else for a while.
Yeah. It's been so long. Like with the Hunter Biden thing, it's like, if I don't see anything happening in that, and I know people can say it's happening behind the scenes, but it's not until my normie family members see something that I'm going to consider it having been done. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
Because
I
if they're going to keep believing what's being seen, it's really, that's what makes me frustrated with it all. But the fact that Hunter Biden just walks free, and it's just unbelievable. It's like he wants to be caught, this guy. He's
Well, this tells you how over the target this movement is and how afraid they are of patriotic, freedom loving Americans, and trying to associate them as, with Trump as a bad thing. And so I think what's going to happen, it's just going to be a giant red pill, because it's going to be another nothing burger, just like the two sham impeachments and just like the sham January 6th idiocracy clown show. They have nothing. They literally have nothing. So this is their way of, look what they did to James O'Keefe at Project Veritas, to all his reporters. They broke into and stormed their houses and stole his phone and everything else. And James O'Keefe is winning that battle against them. And so this is a time where people have to stand up and know that you can fight back and win battles against these people, like the 87,000 IRS agents that are coming, that will be armed and everything else. So you can almost have your own personal IRS agent. So if you step out of line, out of the narrative, let's audit John's taxes now. He's got his own IRS agent. They're going to show up at the door, and they're going to show up with a concealed weapon or whatever. They'll show up like an FBI agent. So they're going to be another weaponized branch of the government. Just wait.
Yeah, I've heard this. It's just wow.
I would laugh, pardon my French, my ass off, if, because I saw somebody said that they busted in the safe at Mar-a-Lago, if there was a meme in there, like a picture that was in the safe, and it said something funny about the resident, like pack your shit, and a picture of him in an airplane or something, whatever. So you know what? And I also think, and I'm going to throw this out there, you heard it here first, I still think that they are looking for the football. If any of you guys know what the football is, I think they're still looking for that, because I don't think the current administration actually has the nuclear football. So anyway.
Interesting.
Moving on. So no, Karen, I don't think they arrested him. I'll have to do a little more digging after this, but I think it was just a raid, an intimidation thing. Like, look at us. We're going to flex our muscle. We're going to raid your place. We're going to find some stuff that you tore up and flushed down the toilet, and somebody coincidentally or conveniently took a picture of it.
Wow.
Anyway, scientists receive huge grants to study how plants cure diseases, but their goal was to first identify which chemicals in the plant were effective, and then recreate a similar chemical, but not identical, in the lab that could be patented. And that's the key right there. Not using something natural, but something, identifying the actual chemical and recreating that chemical so it can be patented, because you can't patent anything from nature.
Right.
A pill for an ill became the mantra for modern medicine. And you thought the Koch brothers, I hate saying that word, but Koch, we're going to go with Koch. And you thought the Koch brothers were evil. So now we are 100 years later, churning out doctors who know nothing about the benefits of nutrition or herbs or any holistic practices, unless you specifically go to school for that. We have an entire society that is enslaved to corporations for its well-being. America spends 15% of its GDP on healthcare, which should really be called sick care. It is focused not on the cure, but only on the symptoms, as I've stated earlier, thus creating repeat customers. That's the whole idea. more customers, more repeat customers, more money, more money. There is no cure for cancer, diabetes, autism, and asthma, or even the flu. Think about that. How long has the flu been around? What, 90 years or something? As far as like medical science, as far as,
Right.
that
Based
kind of
on
stuff goes.
germ theory.
Yeah. And they still don't have a cure for the flu. Autism, the cure for autism is not getting vaccinated. But anyway, we won't go there. Or getting mercury in your vaccines, I should say.
Right.
Why would there be real cures? There is a system founded by oligarchs and plutocrats, not by doctors. As for cancer, the American Cancer Society was founded by none other than the Rockefeller in 1913. So now he's controlling all ends of it. So, here's another one of those organizations, one of those foundations. So you got the American Cancer Society. Remember when the American Cancer Society was, everybody and doctors were pushing cigarettes for pregnant women and that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah.
That it was good. And I think I even posted a meme about it not too long ago.
Wow.
In this month of breast cancer awareness, it is sad to see people being brainwashed about chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. That's for another blog post. But here's a quote from John D. Rockefeller that summarizes his vision for America. And I quote, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers."
Wow.
So that should tell you something.
Like his audacity. Like,
tell me about it. I mean, it's just like,
wasn't Rockefeller vice president at one point?
You know what? I hate to admit, but I don't know.
One of the Rockefellers. I'm thinking. I forget which one.
Could very well be.
Nelson
D. Rockefeller. Let's see here. Rockefeller vice. Was the Rockefeller ever vice president? Apparently, a lot of people asked that question.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Nelson A. Rockefeller, July 8th, 1908. So there's that time period again. Through January, he was born in July of 1908 and lived through January 26, 1979. Sometimes referred to as nickname Rocky, was an American businessman and politician who served as the 41st Vice President of the United States from December 1974 to January 1977, and previously was the 49th Governor of New York from 1959 to 1973. So yes, Nelson Rockefeller.
Interesting.
I almost feel ashamed not knowing that. Yes, Karen knew. He was a governor.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. When it comes to New York stuff, I know she's on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving on. Now, we always talk about, or I shouldn't say we always talk about, we frequently talk about ether, free energy, energy from the air, as it were.
Absolutely.
And from our favorite time period, from the 1800s through the early 1900s. Mm-hmm. I came across this set of pictures. I had never seen this before. The Amman brothers, or Ammon brothers, however you pronounce that. It's Ammann. So Amman, I don't know. Amman. We'll just say Amman. Standing in front of their power source tied to the front of their 1921 electric car that operated without batteries, using a generator that draws electricity from the ether, and drives the car. So if you look, I'm going to pull up these pictures here, or at least a couple of them. Look at this contraption in the front of where the engine would be here in the front of the car. Wow. You got these like little gold looking or silver looking balls up here. Mm-hmm. It amazes me every day or every week. I keep finding stuff that I never knew about before.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
like this, the idea of this is just, it's awesome. And on a side note, this guy looks like John Trump, by the way.
Yeah, I thought so too. I had to really look twice.
But I love, oops, I love the hat. We'll go back. The little hat sitting right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They either had wild, crazy like top hats and stuff like that, or they had these like little what I call chorus hats. I don't know what they're really called, but
Right.
you'd always see
Yeah,
like the barbershop quartets. They'd always have these hats like that.
exactly. I love them.
And here's a newspaper clipping with the same picture from the Arizona Republican, Phoenix, Sunday morning, August 28th, 1921.
How cool.
Electricity taken from air drives automobile.
Wow.
I love that headline. Electricity taken from air drives automobile. And I don't know if I can read this whole thing. Let's see if I can. C.E. Amon and his atmospheric generator, in quotes, so that must have been what he called it, atmospheric generator, attached to an electric automobile. So this was apparently in Denver. Demonstrations are being made on the streets of Denver of a new electric generator that is claimed by the inventors to take electricity from the air. The inventors are J.E. Amon of Denver and his brother C.E. Amon of Spokane, Washington. To demonstrate, the brothers borrowed an old electric auto, and that phrase alone is freaky to me. Like, it's just like, this is like almost like a happenstance or a common thing. Oh, an old electric car. This is 1921, an old electric car.
Exactly. It was that common. That's amazing.
I mean, just that is, I mean, it's in plain sight, people. And that's why I love these old newspaper clippings, because you didn't have all that steering going on by the old narrative controllers.
Right.
I just love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that because things were so localized.
Yes, absolutely. And Casey, you're always getting storms. Jeez.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to get you a bomb shelter or something. Let's see. To demonstrate, the brothers borrowed an old electric auto, took out the batteries, and after roping their new atmospheric generator fast, they got in and rode off at high speed. I love it. They rode off at high speed, not like the little Rascals cars, you know, like where the wheels will be wobbling and everything, you know. These guys are like in a Tesla, and they're like off at high speed. There is nothing inside the drum that moves. The contents consist only of iron, wire, and minerals, says C.E. Amon. It can be used to drive any electrical apparatus and can be made in any size. The brothers are closely guarding their secret and even take their brainchild, when it is not in use, to their room in the Argonaut Hotel. These guys are always holed up in hotels. Like Tesla was in the New Yorker, and these guys are in the Argonaut Hotel. Love that name too, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the hotel.
So far, the brothers have not offered to sell their proposition. Electrical men in Denver, I love that. Electrical men in Denver are waiting to be shown, but they grant the thing works. I love that stuff. This is the kind of stuff I love looking for, and I find it just, and sometimes it just falls in my lap. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like,
look at that right there, like you said, in black and white.
And it's still this line still gets me. They borrowed an old electric auto.
It says a lot.
It's like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. What a weird time frame that when they began to suppress things. Imagine they did have to unalive a lot of people when you think about it.
I love that, unalive.
You know, in order to suppress all of this stuff and memory hole it, they had to have a Spanish flu and everything, right?
Speaking of memory hold, thank you for that transition, that segue,
You're welcome.
and yeah, unalive people. No, I'm serious. We must be on the same wavelength this week, because we always talk about all these resets in the mud flood and people showing up out of nowhere, kids showing up, orphans, and then all these buildings are already built, like they already have a society waiting for them. They have a library, they have rules and laws and that kind of stuff, and they just like are inserted into it. Well, it made me think about Europe, in the French catacombs. So, storming here too, Casey. Apparently, the lights just flickered. So if I disappear, it's not the deep state or a direct energy weapon or whatever. It's lightning outside.
Okay.
Hundreds of miles of tunnels full of bones and skulls. And again, this is underground, not like in a cemetery or whatever.
Right.
The official story is that they are bones from graves that have been rehoused in the tunnels in order to make room on the surface. Such a strange story to come up with. I wonder, are those bones from people of the last reset? So when you said that, it just made me think of this, which is I just happen to coincidentally have it for this show, is this whole concept of this underground, or these catacombs under not just France, but they're in many places in Europe. This one just happens to be, I think, the most famous one.
Right.
Look at all the bones and skulls and everything, and it goes on for however many miles. Let's see how I thought I forgot already. Hundreds of miles of bones. So, to me, I'm not saying that's accurate, but it's plausible to me that, yeah, if you're going to hide the evidence of, all these people, living in an area, and you wanted to start over,
I agree.
Why not put them underground? Why not?
Absolutely.
And make it seem like it's scary, a place like you shouldn't go to because, it's got demons and ghosts and you don't want to disturb the dead kind of thing. And,
right.
But I don't know. And
well, yeah, their narrative doesn't make sense. The catacombs, I've been to catacombs in Egypt, and it's like just how deep down these things go. They have, ventilation, and it doesn't make sense that how did they carry all these bodies down into these areas? And they just have so many little pockets, and it's unbelievable. I have some working theories as to what these catacombs are.
And you got this guy pulling his wagon full of bones here.
It's bizarre. Yeah,
it
the
is
one
bizarre.
in France, I hear that one is unreal.
And now I'm going to talk about something that has always fascinated me, but I didn't think about until recently because I saw something that had the phrase in it. Does anybody know what black noise is? Not white noise, but black noise.
No, first time hearing about it.
Well, I'm going to play this little clip of David Bowie here. He makes mention of black noise in this clip, and I had never seen this clip before. I had seen the other clip I'm going to show, but again, with controlling things that are happening, controlling narrative and other things, when an area gets out of line or you want to change something, I don't know. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it well enough. I had a little bit of a hard time hearing it. Otherwise, I'll paraphrase it in the next video. So remember black noise.
What is black noise?
Black noise.
Yeah.
Black noise is something that Burroughs got very interested in. It's
intriguing.
well, no, it's one facet of black noise is that everything, like a glass, if an opera singer hits a particular note, the vibrations are that of the metabolism of the glass, and it cracks it. Yeah. So a black noise is the register within which you can crack a city or people, or it's a new controlled bomb. It's a noise bomb, in fact, which can destroy.
Is it a real thing? I mean, is it something that's actually somebody's experimenting with?
It was invented in France.
Could a tyrant use it to...
Well, until last year, you could buy the patent for it in the French patent office for about equivalent to $3-4.
And it would wipe out it's concentrated.
It depends
sound
how
waves.
much money you put into it. I mean, a small one could probably kill about half the people, yeah, but a big one could destroy a city, or even more. I mean,
it's a weird idea.
don't look at it's not my idea.
No. Well, let's not give the instructions on how to do it.
Could you guys hear what he said?
Oh yeah, could hear it well.
So the idea, this is not a new idea, and apparently even David Bowie's talking about this potential weapon, this black noise, or a noise bomb as he called it, if in the wrong hands. And he said the patent was freely available on the French patent office for the equivalent of a few dollars. And if you put enough money into it, you could not only hurt people, but you could hurt and destroy cities. So I'm going to show this video really quick. I don't think it's too long. Yeah, it's only 58 seconds long. But this kind of shows the effect of black noise, and it simulates Earth, like buildings on top of Earth. So just keep that in mind when you watch this video.
Whoa.
So the idea is, and think mud flood, and think getting rid of evidence and buildings and that kind of stuff. It literally, if you get this frequency right, you're liquefying matter, like you're liquefying the ground, or the earth underneath the buildings, and literally turning it into, well, mud or liquid or whatever it ends up being. So there's no structural integrity to it. So instead of causing an earthquake, you're causing like a mudslide or a mud, whatever, except you don't need the rain. Yes, looked like a molten cow patty.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, when you show that, I'm just thinking how powerful, when we think of Genesis and when God just spoke words and things happen, the vibrational quality of God's voice. I mean, I can't even imagine, but wow. Like this whole liquefaction, mud flood stuff is making more and more sense with each passing piece of information, that gets added to this puzzle.
Every day it's just, I think I got a line on it, or I got a beat on it, and then I don't. Something else comes up,
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot to it. Even just trying to place the missing time, the 1,000 years, I still can't wrap my head around that really well.
That's why I'd like to get the chronology guy on here. I'd like to talk about that exact idea.
Yeah. He's a great one, and I've missed a lot of his stuff. I've just been out of the loop, but I know he was supposed to be bringing some new information forward.
I like the chronology aspect, because that approach is more fact-based, because you're only dealing with things that you can verify. And
yeah,
I like his method. I'd like to watch more or learn more about it, because
definitely
that concept does kind of, it's hard. I have to see it, like where the time's missing, where their time was added, that kind of stuff. And
right.
because I can't come up with that on my own right now.
Yeah, it's so tough because they hit it in time frames. It seems like it wasn't all hidden at the same time. It had to have been done in incremental portions. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. It's really amazing, though.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Kieran, you are correct. They've been keeping us off the correct timeline forever. I guess that's one of the reasons they created the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
They had to keep recreating calendars too, and to fit whatever, you know. We'll talk about chronology in another episode. I really do want to. I do want to focus on that at one time because I want to learn more about that. Even if we have to take some of his work and do like a live reading on the show kind of thing, I really do want to talk about.
Oh yeah,
chronology.
Yeah, he always encourages people. He's not funny about using his information. He wants this stuff to get out there. So he's always saying, like, anybody, just take it and just run with it, do whatever you want. He's not into like, oh, this is, I'm gonna, you know. He's doing it for the right reasons, you know.
And that's why I like him. I mean, I respect him, I should say. I don't, but I do want to touch on chronology. But put this in here for Jennifer because I want to talk a little bit about airships.
Yay, you know, love it.
or at least the idea of platforms, airship platforms.
Right. Okay. Nice.
Old platforms for airships, victory columns, dome structures, early skyscraper buildings, clean with no pollution for travel, no chemical clouds, free energy, and worldwide travel. Did airships have a part to play in the destruction of some of the cities from the old world that got wiped? From our research, we can see that earthquakes and fires can't level a city. The airships may have had many uses. And then there's one depiction that looks like a ray or something, you know, burning this building kind of thing.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let me find this. See if I can make it bigger here. This is in 1915.
Wow.
But yeah, just the depiction, like these people are standing outside the building because the building's on fire. And I can't tell what this is. It looks like some kind of a cable or rope or something. And then you got this light beam thing going on here. So I guess they're pushing or promoting the idea that, you know, maybe some of these great fires were helped out by the Zeppelin drivers or the blimp drivers or the airship drivers. And
oh, I see. That makes sense.
So
that's
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, I don't know if for sure, but I wouldn't put it past them.
Absolutely. Wow. Unreal.
They always fascinated me, even as a kid, like Zeppelins and other airships and that kind of stuff.
It's so beautiful. It's like dreamy.
Yeah, it has like a familiarity to it, even though I shouldn't be familiar with them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I relate to what you're saying.
And then, of course, these buildings, I don't know where this is at. I'm guessing it's Germany or something, with that kind of Tartarian architecture.
Right. The spires. Funny thing is, like, that architecture can be literally anywhere. And it's so far. Like, that could be in Mexico. That could be in, you know, Nebraska. So
exactly.
Cool. Right.
I don't know what this is. This was lumped in with the other pictures. It just says Germany builds a great new air giant. So it looks like there's like passenger rows or seats or something in here. I can't tell from this picture. I can't read any of this. I'd have to see if I could find the original image or a copy of it. But I'm fascinated as to this whole era.
Love it.
I'd never seen this before. Like the U.S. Navy doing this with these towers.
Yeah, you know, that's new, especially in that position, I've never seen them. They're usually like, what is it? Vertical. I mean, yeah,
But it
horizontal.
makes sense if it's helium.
Yeah, true.
Like if this is a tower and it's filling it with helium, because you can clearly see there's something extended from this airship, like a
Yeah.
nozzle. So,
Right.
and it looks like it's sitting on that top of that tower. So maybe since helium is lighter than air, maybe this is a more efficient way to transfer helium into a Zeppelin and into an airship.
I don't know. That's so cool to even imagine. Now, I've seen pictures where they zoom right into the tower and there'll be like a man at the top and he's hooking the Zeppelin, that pointed end of it,
Mhm.
hooking it up. Have you seen that?
Was he smoking?
It's
When you were
so-
saying that, I was picturing like some old guy with this big cigar or cigarette. Yeah, just park it right over here. Come over here. I got you.
right. Well, he's like
Got you.
over and just he's popping out of a window almost like, and then attaching the pointed front part of the Zeppelin to the tower there, like
Gotcha.
fettering it to the towers, and it's like always in this open like field, looks like farmland.
What did you say the name of your ship was? Hindenburg? Yeah, just park it right over here. Come on. Make it.
For you right here.
Got your helium's all loaded up here. Got you. You're ready to go. Here, let me
your cigar.
Let me throw away this cigarette. Hold on.
Oh, no.
I can just see that happening.
Famous last words, right?
1917. Again, I like this time period. I know Jennifer does too. But I found this video of America's latest Miss Shirley Kellogg. So I don't know if you know who Shirley Kellogg is, but apparently she was somebody in 1917.
Oh, okay.
Look at what she's writing.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. I love it. I know, right? Yeah. This is amazing. She's good too. Look at her. For her to have all those clothes on, right, ladies? For her to ride that scooter with all these long frocks on.
This must be one of those old electric scooters they found.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like it's gas powered. This looks like a battery or
Right.
electric scooter.
It does. This is fascinating. This, you see this company that has the stamp
Cafe.
they have a lot of video around this time because they are the ones I think that I saw the woman with the iPad around this.
Really?
Oh yeah, or cell phone. I think I've seen a woman with a cell phone. And
here
on the cell phone.
we have one of the peasants with a regular scooter, like a little old clunky wood thing with like little metal wheels or something on it there.
Right. And she knows she's being innovative,
And this kid's back here. I wish I had one. But yeah, they have I think at the end of the video they do have a link to their channel here. Let's see.
Yeah, they have the best footage. It's because they put that watermark on all of their stuff. They have, I don't know who they are. They'd be worth looking into. Like, how do you have all this footage? Like,
yeah, right.
It's really fascinating.
I find stuff like this. I'm starting to sound like a broken record because things fascinate me all the time, but they do. I mean, literally, yeah. I thought I knew a lot, but I really don't know anything.
Wow.
But they keep finding around the world all these anomalies. Like they found this wheel in a coal mine in Russia in 2008. And they're finding like gearboxes and clock mechanisms and that kind of stuff buried at the bottom of the sea. Wow. That has to be millions of years old, So I thought this was interesting. A discovery was made in a coal mine in Rostov, Russia in 2008 at a depth of about 1 kilometer below the surface. There's a wheel embedded in the rock. One of the miners took a selfie with the wheel. Unfortunately, not long after the discovery, the mine was flooded and any further research halted. I wonder, is the wheel attached to anything else?
Oh, good question. Good.
It's funny how we're gonna
and hardware.
Oh, sorry.
I say your voice changed. Holy cow.
Oh my gosh, something happened and played. Oh my gosh, sorry. A window just started playing out of nowhere. I have to close some tabs. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Apparently, Julie says, you heard it here. He doesn't know everything.
Julie, that's funny. Hey, Julie.
Yeah. They're coming out of the woodwork now. But I find it interesting when I see stuff like this, just anomalies like that.
Yeah, that's hard to explain.
I can't definitively tell you what it is, but it doesn't look like something you'd normally find in a mine.
Yeah, definitely not. Like, wheels are definitely not something that you would expect. I guess in that position, maybe. I would think that you could maybe old vehicles, maybe, but yeah, that says a little bit more.
So let's see. Hold on here. I found, and Julie knows this. I like weird like sea creatures and all kinds of cryptids and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like from an official, like an oil platform, like from the company. This was a video. I can't remember the depth, but it was deep, very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, wrong video. Sorry. Where'd it go? Hold on. Oh, I labeled it weird sea creature. Look, I actually labeled it the right thing.
But even
Oh no, that's a different weird sea creature. Hold on. Hold on. Where's my other weird sea creature thing?
More than
Oh,
one.
where is it? I know I saved it. Hold on. I'm going to have to do a little search here. Hold on one sec.
Okay, no worries.
Meantime, maybe if I look up creature, let's see here. Weird sea creature. There it is. Indian Ocean creature. Oh, it shows it's in that folder. Huh, weird. Where is... Oh, there it is. Sorry, folks. It's right in front of my eyes, apparently.
It's okay.
All right, here's the image I just cut from it to get the depth. Taken from a remote operated vehicle at a depth of 3,753 feet in the Indian Ocean next to a drill wellhead. They always have cameras on the wellheads where they're drilling.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to say anything about this video. I'm going to let the whole video play out, and I'm going to let you have the same reaction I did, hopefully. This object here is what you need to watch. Right there.
Okay. Whoa, wait a minute. What? Oh my. What in the world? Wait a minute now. Oh, it's showing off. It's fabulous too. What in the world? Wait a minute. Hold
The thing I wanted to make apparent, if you didn't see it, is right here. When it goes out of frame, it actually comes apart.
That's what I thought I saw.
It dissipates.
Oh, I thought I saw
So it
that.
goes from an object that looks like that.
Wait a minute. That was that? It turned because
Yes.
oh, you serious? This thing
So
was
right about here is where it changes. You can see it shift shape right here,
yay.
and then turns into this. And I have seen pictures or videos of sea creatures that have those lights like that,
That's so beautiful.
but they're usually like squids, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But this shifts
wow.
shape several times, and when it gets to a certain point, see that shape there,
Yeah.
and then it kind of gets bigger almost
Right.
right here,
Wow.
and then it literally just kind of breaks apart or dissipates and goes away. But I love stuff like this. That just like, come on, man, what is that?
So beautiful. That's so advanced. It has no words. It is so beautiful. I have no other word. Like, wow.
I mean, think about the vastness of the oceans and how unexplored they still are. And you think about Agartha in the inner earth and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much of our planet, our realm, or realm, that we know nothing, zero about.
Exactly.
Zero. And has been lost to history. And think about all the things that ancient peoples used to talk about and write about, and with mermaids and sea creatures and sirens and all this other stuff, and leviathans, krakens, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's amazing to me. I mean, I have no idea. I don't even know what that is. I don't know if anybody knows. Throw it in the chat. But that is incredible to me. That is amazing. Like this whole encounter here.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's intelligent. Like it knows that it's being filmed.
Right.
Goes into this display, whether it's a threat display or just a display, just to, hey, I'm here.
Wow.
And then just kind of like, bloop, I'm out of here.
It's so fancy too. Like that's what amazes me. It looks very, I don't know, like elegant. It's a elegant design. Krakens. That's so funny.
Kraken heads.
It looks like it's dressed up, doesn't it? Like in footwear.
It's crazy.
That was
it's beautiful though.
Yeah, it's really like it doesn't look menacing at all.
Right. Besides the black vampire looking cloak thing, but
it's kind
like it's probably one of those life force space vampires. But, and speaking of weird things that aren't beautiful, came across this too. Never seen this crazy monster.
Oh wow.
Eulogisca gigantea, scale worm that lives in Antarctica, one of our favorite places. It's about 8 inches long, roughly the size of a squirrel.
Oh boy.
Look at the teeth on that thing.
If you get bitten by it, imagine what. Wow.
There's some crazy things living in our world.
Yeah.
That we really don't know a whole lot about. And there is, since we're here, I brought up the whole skin cancer thing and how it wasn't really a thing until processed foods came about. Listen to this.
Sunlight reduces the size of internal cancerous tumors.
I thought sun causes cancer.
Well,
Everybody
actually,
says stay out of the sun because it causes cancer.
that's right. They did a study at Baylor University where they took 2 groups of experimental animals. They gave one the standard American diet, which is terrible. They gave the other one a highly nutritious diet. Then they exposed both groups of animals to the ultraviolet rays of the sun. In the group on the standard American diet, 25% got skin cancer. In the group on the highly nutritious diet, not one animal got skin cancer. It's the way we're eating. Skin cancer is a relatively new phenomenon in the last 60 years or so, and yet our ancestors for hundreds of years have been living outdoors, working outdoors, and they didn't get skin cancer. It's a new phenomenon.
It's a new phenomenon.
Yeah, it makes sense because, you know, people didn't register all these diseases before. And the sun was never demonized like it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
The sun was worshipped by literally every culture on the face of the earth from the beginning of time, from any history that we know. And then suddenly it's demonized.
Makes sense.
We don't want you guys to live longer. Bad sun. Stay out of the sun.
And then
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the thing about the sun that I learned that blew my mind that I didn't put it together is that when you have darker skin, you actually need more sun. You need more time in the sun. And I thought that was weird. I was like, why would I need more time? It's because if you have dark skin, you're actually the sunblock. You have like sunblock in your skin in a sense. So you're going to block a lot of sun. And so the vitamin D levels that you need to stay out longer. So someone with lighter skin can get their vitamin D quicker. You see? Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. And it makes sense for the people in Ethiopia and all of Africa and Egypt and the Middle East having developed darker skin so they could stay out longer. But that's interesting. The rate of absorption for vitamin D3 for your bones and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
To think about. Yeah, like, was it melanin? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the melanin is actually like it's protective so that the sun won't, burn the skin as quickly. But I thought I could get out and get my vitamin D just with little quick times out in the sun. And somebody told me, no, you need double the amount of time out in the sun because you're actually the sunblock. You're kind of the sunblock.
So you're screwing yourself.
That's funny. But it does make sense in a weird way, right? When the person
it does.
Like, oh, I never thought about that.
Even though this is in New York, when I saw Penn Station's always fascinated me. It reminded me or made me think of Jenny the John, the whole Pennsylvania, whole, Philly thing, so.
Right. I love that station. It's beautiful.
So I thought I'd put in Penn Station, construction 1904 to 1910, demolition 1963 to 1968. I just thought that was interesting that it was finished in 1910. So it was only around for 53 years, according to this. It's just that seems like a short period of time for a structure of that magnitude and that opulence or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's weird. So the new Penn Station, see, this is you're gonna catch them in a major lie right now, and Karen can probably attest to this. So there was an old Pennsylvania station. So the new Pennsylvania station looks just as old as this station. So I'd be curious to know when was the new Pennsylvania station, because that's the one I go into all the time. And it looks just about, that's weird.
Yeah, and again, we always talk about the tunnel systems and building transportation on top of transportation. This sign caught my attention for whatever reason. It's downstairs for incoming trains. So I just like that.
Yeah.
Like it's pointing down, like look down, like talking to me specifically. Look for the mud flood. Look down, kind of thing.
I love train stations. Wow.
And I always find these old pictures interesting too, because sometimes you'll catch things that you may not have cursorily caught, like this coffee pot place right here, this restaurant or a store or whatever it is right here.
Yeah.
All these cars parked, the way they're parked, how close together they are.
Right.
I mean, they're literally on top of each other.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, is there like a valet that just backs them up one after another? So it's interesting that, was this paid parking, like at the airport for the people going on the train across the country or something?
Oh, that's probably, yeah, maybe.
And then I saw these, I don't know where Penn Station is exactly. I've never been to New York.
It's right in the, it's like in the center of Manhattan in a sense, like it's convenient.
Do you know what this factory would have been back here? These two stacks are?
Oh, that's interesting. Because I know they probably got rid of a lot of those kind of factories with stacks like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, because I figure, well, this is it. If this is in downtown or, in the middle of everything, I was just curious as to maybe, Karen, what this factory might have been back here. Because I don't know how long it lasted, or how long it was there. Because the station supposedly, again, was destroyed or demolished, completely demolished by 1968. So
that's so bizarre to get rid of a station and then have another, like Penn Station is near, isn't it near
34th Street is what Karen says.
Yeah. Okay, so that would be some interesting research to find out what the old address was and the new address, meaning
and just find out what was behind there,
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting to know that.
Yeah.
Now, this was again a week of discovery, revelation, if you will. I never knew these existed either. Apparently, there's stones that ring like bells. This is fascinating to me because they sound like bells. Literally, they sound like bells.
Wow.
South Africa.
I'm going to show you some of the most remarkable artifacts that I've collected. This particular stone in my hand here, this beautiful Stone Age club, it looks like something out of Flintstones. I'm going to show you how they ring like bells because I can't carry these with me all over the world. So a quick demonstration how these stones ring like bells. I just discovered that in geological terms, these stones, this particular stone, the hornfels in South Africa, is also known as ringstone for that very specific reason. And to ring these, I'm going to use my brand new tool that I've just collected about a week ago, this phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal artifact. And I'm going to use this to ring these stones. We always joked when I found this, that this looks like a Stone Age guitar. And it's pretty much like that, And I'm going to show you that it is very closely related to a musical instrument in ancient times for a very specific reason. Now, you might think that the stone shape is just accidental and that it broke off or something. You'd be mistaken, because I've collected probably about 4 or 5 stones that are very, very similar in shape, very similar carving structure. There's broad base here and then down to a narrow tip. And somebody removed this particular piece of the stone over there for specific reasons, as you will hear, which I'll ring a little bit more. They ring like bells. But it's also important to note that you cannot carve or chip the stone. It will splinter and fragment, and it will not be chipped or carved. Okay, so these shapes that we see here must have been molded in some way. and molded for specific acoustic properties. And this is why. You've got to hold it a very specific way to make as little contact as possible to get it to ring and resonate at its optimum. Now remember, it's also covered in patina, the skin of the rock, this brown reddish color that covers the rock, that is no longer the original black or charcoal color, the original color of the metamorphosized quartzite that's underneath. And that's how it rings.
Wow. Wow.
I can actually feel my fingers underneath are deadening the ringing because I'm holding it and it's deadening some of the effect. There we go.
That sounds amazing. Ooh.
That's what you want. You realize that this thing really rings like a bell and it reverberates for quite a long time.
Oh, wow.
All right, and now to show you that this is not the only one, here's the other one. The Stone Age Club. And I drove over this myself a few times, driving up the mountain of the forest road, and eventually I stopped and picked it up because I realized this is one of the most remarkable tools that you will ever find, and thank God I did. And it is very heavy. I'm out of breath because I'm holding my breath not to make a noise. And this thing weighs probably about 15 kilos. So
Wow.
and there you go. Demonstration how these stones ring like bells. And they were used in all kinds of ways and fashions, just like the ankh, to create specific vibrational frequencies and specific notes to use as a form and a source of energy.
Interesting. As a form of energy.
Well, I'm thinking healing too, because like certain frequencies we saw throughout Europe and everywhere else where they were removing the bells during wars, they were taking them out of the churches and out of all these buildings and putting them in these big stockpiles because they didn't want these bells that resonated at a certain frequency. And so there must be something to it. But
Yeah.
I just found it interesting. I didn't know there was like bell rocks, you know.
That's my first time ever seeing anything like that. And you know, I'm thinking that the Rockefellers probably has something to do with bells, right?
How dare you? You're slandering our name, or you know, whatever.
Allegedly, the Rockefellers.
Yeah, allegedly. I love that. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly is now being, you know, when you have to say it, it probably just sounds like whatever's following this is true.
Yes, Casey, it reminds me of those bowls too, like the Tibetan monk bowls that you. I have one actually over here.
Oh,
somewhere
cool.
Sitting on the. Hold on, since you brought it up. Some wonderful person in my house got it for me.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
You can kind of see.
Oh, those are really beautiful.
Except this is not it's a bowl. It's not like you take the thing and rub it around the edge. Yeah. It actually has like a little gong thing, and they're numbered, so they have different, you know, different frequencies. But
really nice. Oh, so, that's nice. I love
occasionally I mess around with it, but
oh yeah. Oh, cool. You'll have to play us a little tune.
Help like Rock of Ages from Def Leppard or something. I don't know.
We'll get some requests going.
Yeah, we'll put it on the radio show.
On the radio, we'll do a little listening party for John and his bell.
Julie says must be the cat. Yeah, it might have been the cat. I don't know, but
blame the cat, right?
Yes, blame the cat. And again, another thing that I didn't know anything about. This is, like I said, one of those weeks. Reported from the Sank Rapids Sentinel, December 1868. Laborers employed on a dam across the Mississippi River discovered a skeleton. It was found embedded in solid granite, 7 feet below the surface of the earth. The paper says the grave was 12 feet in length, 4 feet wide, and about 3 feet in depth, and is today at least 2 feet below the present level of the river. The remains are completely petrified and are of gigantic dimensions. The head is massive and measured 31.5 inches in circumference. That's a big old head.
Whoa.
The femur measures 26.25 inches, and the fibula 25.5 inches. While the body is equally long in proportion from the crown of the head to the sole of the foot, the length is 10 feet 9 inches. The measurement around the chest is 59.5 inches. The giant must have weighed 900 pounds when covered with a reasonable amount of flesh. So, we've always got to bring up giants at least once or twice in one of these shows. So just keep finding them. They just keep popping up. Oops. Yeah. I thought I had another picture, but I guess I don't. I'm sure this is just a depiction, but it always kind of fascinates me too about how people depict other people. Like you got this group over here, they're doing some kind of, like, they must be in a war band because they all have bows. You see, it looks like must be deer jumping over here. But it's just interesting that, whoever this was 10 feet tall and about 900 pounds. So
amazing.
So giants, there's just a lot of evidence and circumstantial evidence that giants existed. It was a thing. It wasn't like a fluke. It wasn't a rare genetic defect. There were races of giants. This was kind of interesting. I just saw the picture and I was like, what is that? So I saw the skull with all this carving in it because it looked like Danny Elfman, like from Nightmare Before Christmas, like these figures over here.
Oh, gosh.
It says ornately engraved Tibetan skulls were used as talismans that were believed to lift a family curse or guide a soul gone astray. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting practice.
Oh,
I mean, literally, this bone is carved everywhere. There isn't a spot where it's not like carved.
Yeah. Depicting
something. And it looks like these little skeleton dudes are arm in arm here and they're dancing. Their legs are intertwined, their arms are intertwined.
Yeah.
They got these little headdresses on. They got like the Danny Elfman teeth there.
That's really, I've never seen a carving in a skull. That's
in Tibet, of all places.
Very intricate.
You think you've seen everything.
I
until
know.
You've seen a Tibetan carved skull.
Yeah, you have to check that one off the list, everyone. Together.
That's right.
On 3.
I'm going to play 2 videos. And then we'll wind down with some memes here. We got to have the memes, the salty memes this week.
Oh, yeah.
But has anybody seen Dinner with Andre, the movie Dinner with Andre?
I may have. It sounds so familiar.
But there's 2 clips from Dinner with Andre. And you have to listen, this gentleman here, you have to listen to what he is saying to the Honey I Shrunk the Kids guy or whoever this dude is.
I know, I remember him from so many movies.
He's not Rick Moranis, but he's one of those kind of actors. Like he's typecast into that kind of
right.
So listen carefully.
Well, why do you think that is? I mean, why is that? I mean, is it just because people are lazy today or they're bored? I mean, are we just like bored, spoiled children who've just been lying in the bathtub all day, just playing with their plastic duck, and now they're just thinking, well, what can I do? Okay, yes, we are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks? And it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no? See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. When I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. Just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York. Yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they've built. They've built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. And we really should feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, and that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
There you go, folks.
Wow, that's powerful. Dinner with Andre.
Dinner with Andre. I don't know what year that was. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
It looked a little like the 80s, didn't it?
Yep. 1981.
Okay. Wow.
Because he's talking about the 60s being the last kind of bastion of people being people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Karen, get out now while you can. She says that's deep. But yeah, like
it is really,
but that is like, I felt like I was meant to find that clip because it shows you how far back whoever the director was or whoever the writer was for this was at least thinking that at that time in 81.
Yeah.
But again, to his point, people are sheep. Are comfortable. They've created their own prison that they don't want to leave. Even though it's not a good place, they still won't leave. And I think we're seeing the effects of that now, where people are actually realizing what they're saying in this clip in real time, and you're seeing that struggle happening and unfolding in real time. Yeah. So, and that's why the world seems crazy right now.
Yeah,
because that's being exposed.
Yeah, it is, and we're seeing that even with the scriptures, like, you know, people wouldn't have natural affection anymore, and we're seeing that more and more. And I guess I'm starting to sense, and I could be wrong, let me know what you sense about this, is that we're not going to see this robot revolution like the movies depict, like, you know,
Right. Not
it,
like iRobot.
yeah, not
Yeah.
like that. They don't, if they could have done that by now, they would have done it already. But what it is they can make a few of those kind of things. But in terms of having a whole, you know, army of robots, I believe it's the people that they've basically lobotomized and turned them into these lower thinking, you know, kind of automatons, is that what they call basic, like, yeah. So they strip people of individuality and labels. They, you know, throw labels and things and put them in the metaverse. So that's what I think is happening with people. They're becoming the quote unquote robots, the zombies, NPCs.
Yeah, I love NPC because I'm a gamer or a former gamer, and I love the term NPC because I'm very familiar with their role in
Okay.
everything.
Right. They have a role, right? According,
Yes.
I'm not a gamer, but I'm trying to understand game theory and things like that.
They're supposed to be the neutral, computer controlled, whatever it is. And Karen, to your point, I don't know where you can watch it. I think you can. It shows Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $3.99. I'm sure you can buy it on Amazon or something if you want. Because
It's sure, huh? Oh,
Karen
boy.
says his words made my hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Oh boy, really, Karen?
And then Casey, Escape from New York. And yeah, you know, it does. If you've seen Escape from New York with my buddy Snake Plissken, love that character, by the way. I just love that character.
Yeah.
Have you seen Escape from New York?
Yeah, a long time ago. It makes me want to see it again now because I didn't understand it as a kid or whatever.
It is such a classic movie. And you're right. You have to see it as an adult now.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's just one of those movies that, well, I'm not going to give it away if you haven't seen it, but if you get a chance, I'm sure you can watch it free somewhere. But Escape from New York, add it to your list. Jen's got a big list now, so I'm not going to keep adding stuff to it. But,
very big list of movies for sure.
So, Karen, I guess if you can get on Amazon or something or whatever and order it, or go to Amazon Prime or something and pay $3.99 or whatever it is to watch it. I've never seen the whole movie, so I don't know how it plays out, but I just found that clip from it. Well, there was one other thing before the memes. I don't know if, and I, again, never heard of this until this past week as well. The idea, or the yak, here, I'll just open it up here. The yak or whatever. These are little like structures in the middle of the desert that they built back in the day to store ice and keep it frozen in the middle of the desert.
Are you kidding me? Wow.
So yes, these are real things apparently. I didn't know they existed either. Or that you could keep ice frozen in the middle of the desert.
Wow.
See you later, Casey.
Take care, Casey.
So,
okay. Doggy med time.
This is a yakshul, an ancient Persian refrigerator. Invented around 400 BC, it used a cooling system that kept ice frozen all year round. Yakshuls are found across Iran, in areas where the climate enables the freezing of ice on site in winter, or where ice and snow could be brought from nearby mountain areas. The ice is reported to have been used for the production and preservation of food and drinks in summer, and perhaps occasionally for cooling buildings. Yakshul in Persian means ice pit, and it's an ancient type of evaporative cooler. Above ground, the structure has a dome shape with a large subterranean storage space. The use of thick, heat-resistant construction materials insulate the storage space year-round. Cold air is allowed to pour in from the entries at the base of the structure and descend to the lowest parts. At the same time, the tall conical shape of the building guides any remaining heat upward and outside through openings at the very top of the building. Through this active process, the air inside the yachtule remains cold enough to keep ice frozen in the scorching desert heat. The ice is made in a shallow pond, which is filled each night from a freshwater canal. A shading wall shields the pond from the heat of the low-angle winter sun. The water freezes during the cold winter nights. Ice is harvested from the pond and transferred into the actual ice store. These types of yachules are reported to have been constructed from locally sourced adobe, containing sand, clay, egg white, goat's hair, lemon juice, ash, and a water-resistant type of mortar called sarouge. In summer, some sources report that the domes were covered in a thick layer of straw thatch to insulate them from the heat of the sun. There are records and illustrations of their use recorded in history. And there are 129 remaining yachuls today in Iran.
So there you go. Now you know what a yachtule is.
Oh my goodness, that is fascinating. I'm just mind blown. Just amazing.
So now you know about your bug out bag, Karen. You need a bug out bag. You might have to build a yachtule or something. So when you lose power out in New York City there after they bomb the coast or whatever, you're gonna have to keep ice and stuff frozen. So maybe build it over a subway or something.
So she can make margaritas for everyone when she has her block parties. Right?
She says, I've seen Escape from New York a couple times now. Dinner with Andre and Escape to New York together tonight was a deep dive for me.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad it was, Karen. I hope these memes are going to be a deep dive for you too.
Oh boy, put your seatbelts on.
But I want to preface this with this meme first. So
That's funny.
That's literally what it feels like sometimes.
Oh gosh.
To all 6 of you that like my stuff, this is for you. Since we're talking about weaponization of the DOJ and that kind of stuff, I think I'll start with this one.
Friends of the CIA. Only the CIA.
Yeah, if they were being transparent, this is what your privacy settings would look like.
That's funny.
And this is why we can't have nice things too. This one here.
Oh my gosh. How funny.
Uh-huh.
That's for sure. My gosh.
Yeah. I love that meme, first of all. I love Jaws, the movie Jaws.
Yeah.
So I love this Roy Scheider meme with watermelon head there. But because there's another one with Roy Scheider. It says we're going to need a smaller bus.
A smaller bus. That's cute.
And you know how they were pushing, Orange Man's going to start World War III.
Unbelievable.
Can't make it up. Clown world, it's like
Hard to believe.
again, keep in mind these memes are on the salty side today because I've been in a salty kind of mood today.
Understood. Superman, that's cute.
I've used that one before.
That's a good one. Here's a cape.
These are just sometimes questions I have in my
Right.
head too, like,
Odd questions. Curious questions.
Lady Knievel, I agree with you, but I'm not all about that. It's whatever happens, happens. She says you should really have more watchers. You deserve it.
Oh,
Whatever God has in store for me, I just enjoy doing it, and I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm glad you enjoy it.
yeah.
I'm not looking for, grifting people or whatever.
Yeah.
If it happens organically, great, but I'm not, it's not a big deal to me.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's really in your face. So strong.
Yeah, when you take actual individual issues and put them together, and then you ask yourself what's missing.
Wow.
From Parents, the magazine called Parents.
That's so disturbing. Wow.
And you talk about, well, people wonder what's a nuclear family? What is that? Well, it's not any of these.
Definitely not. And then isn't it weird that nuclear is what they're trying to scare people with, the term nuclear family, nuclear.
And probably one of the most famous quotes over the last couple of years, I guess.
Wow.
And for those people that are all up in arms and you gotta erase history and like black culture and that kind of stuff, what's her name from Gone with the Wind, Maisie or Mamie?
Oh yeah. The
who won an award for her role in that movie. But you have this. If you look at that closely, no longer allowed to have Uncle Ben's face, Aunt Jemima, Land O'Lakes. But what you're left with is what they keep preaching.
Yeah.
Is white supremacy.
Isn't that something?
This is bad, but we can keep these.
They are like they've jumped the shark so many times. It's unbelievable, the logic, the illogical nature of liberalism is a
mental disease.
Who said that so famously? I used to listen to him.
I don't remember who said that.
He was so brilliant.
I know Rush Limbaugh said it, but I don't know if he's the originator of it. Karen, this next one's for you.
He might have been the original person who said it. Yeah, Rush, maybe.
Karen says, it took me back to a dream I had in my teenage years. Was this pre or post Mary Jane? I was on top of a high building in New York, was flooded out. Wow, tonight was deep for me.
Oh, boy. Oh, no, really?
We're going to have you on, Karen. Yeah. But this one's for you, Karen, just in case you do have to use your bug out bag or whatever.
Oh, no. 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 Oh, God. When they're making memes about him, we're in trouble. Oh, my God. Wow.
This is my motto.
There you go. Yep. It's the best kind of learning, I think.
Always got to throw Dave Chappelle in there. And just, he just makes great memes.
Totally. Especially. Oh, gosh, that's funny. That's so funny, but it shouldn't be. But it is.
Hold on, here we go.
That woman, She needs to be stopped.
Julie wasn't here for this one, but she knows this girl's one of my favorite memes.
I love it. Poor little girl.
Kind of how I feel sometimes. Just want to bust out a pack of smokes and put on a nun's outfit.
It didn't say I don't even smoke. Goodness. Piece of shit. That's funny.
I don't know if this one's real or not, but I can see that it might be, you know, like,
no,
like
it might be actually looking at her. That's kind of like names that I hate to say it, but it's like a foreign name. I've seen these kind of names before. It's very possible.
So I apologize for the
translate
if it isn't.
Let's think. Oh my god, that's funny. Oh, Casey's back. Oh yeah.
Oh, she's back.
Yeah, it was the medicine time for the pets. How sad but true. There's no plan.
It is true. Ask your new IRS agent when they come online.
Yikes. Unreal. Unreal. That's really funny. Sup? They're all like, sup.
It reminds me of that "What's up?" You know, that commercial like that.
That was such a funny commercial. Those guys were from Philly, by the way. Did you know that?
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they went to Temple. A couple of them went to Temple. I used to see them around. Yeah, they were like just regular guys, and then they got together and did the like it was so funny. You're making me want to see that again.
Listen to me now.
These are always
to me now.
those are always fun. Wow, look at that smirk. You will support it. You will enjoy supporting it.
That's right. Only a couple left, folks. Only a couple left.
It's too stupid to be stupid, as Salty says, right? Unbelievable. I can't believe we're living with this kind of reality.
All right. So here's one little video, and then I have one left after this.
Susan Cole is from Bowie, Maryland, and her favorite type of music is something I've never heard of, but it doesn't sound like fun.
I think it's very fun. It's called nerdcore hip hop. It's
nerdcore
hip hop. Yeah. It's people who identify as nerdy, rapping about the things they love: video games, science fiction, having a hard time meeting romantic partners. You know, really catchy and fun.
Losers, in other words.
Well.
Did he really just wait a minute? Did they just edit him doing that, or did he say that?
Losers, in other words.
Are you? Wait a minute, John. Did that really happen during the
That's
show?
for real.
Video games, science fiction, having a hard time meeting romantic partners. You know, it's really catchy and fun.
Losers, in other words.
Well,
That's even funnier that it wasn't edited. He really did say that.
Okay, and I'm going to end on this one. Since I started salty, I'm going to end on something. I try to end all my other shows with the idea that we're winning and that you shouldn't be afraid and that you should be hopeful and encouraged about the future. So I'm ending with this kind of World War II themed meme because I feel like we're on the end of that. I feel like Hiroshima's about to happen, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
And the war is just going to end. So there you go.
Love it. Department of Winning.
Someday we will have a U.S. Department of Winning. And winning is might have to go to a 12-step program because we're winning so much, to get used to it.
I love it.
So let's see. They're talking about dog meds. I thought they were talking about something else. Never mind.
Oh.
Lady Kenny was like, he said that, now he's dead? What?
Oh, yeah, Alex Trebek. Is he alive?
I don't know. I think she was talking about the dog, Casey's dog or something.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But I hope you guys got something out of this. Hope you had some fun enjoying the craziness that we usually have on this show.
Fun.
And if you haven't had a chance, Jennifer's put up her several videos this week. And
Yeah, that's so funny. You're like several. I don't even know sometimes.
no, I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. Like it's like
I don't know sometimes, John. I don't know why. I just say, okay, it's go time.
she's on a roll.
I don't know.
And then if you don't know, she's got the music at night. Usually it's 11 o'clock. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, 11's A's and P on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So
okay,
that's what.
So and she plays some great music, and there's usually, I think you add people to your stream, don't you? Like on the video part of it, or is that the other shows?
Oh yeah, that's been the video. Yeah, the YouTube. I've been dropping the link for people to come on. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to do call-ins. I just have to learn how to do all that stuff. I know you were going to help me with the other things too, like the Telegram. But yeah, I'll work in call-ins for the radio thing. That'll be real fun.
Yeah, because I could just see somebody like one of Chevy Chase's characters calling in or something, or Dan Aykroyd, or like
I'm racing for something like that.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or what was that movie? The Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh,
like one of those characters.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Oh,
Animal House.
I did hear that briefly. Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
Oh,
She did pass away today. I knew that, but I didn't know Mar-a-Lago was rated. Something's wrong with me today.
a lot going on.
Karen, what do you want me to play one more time? The
Something funny, probably.
Alex Trebek one, or
That was funny. That's probably what she wants.
come on, Karen. TikTok, come on. Which one do you want me to play again? Trebek? Okay. All right, one more time.
Susan Cole is from Bowie, Maryland, and her favorite type of music is something I've never heard of, but it doesn't sound like fun.
I think it's very fun. It's called nerdcore hip hop. It's
Nerdcore
hip hop. Yes. It's people who identify as nerdy, rapping about the things they love, video games, science fiction, having a hard time meeting romantic partners, you know. It's really catchy and fun.
It's really
Losers, in other words.
Well,
she said it's really catchy and fun. And when he said loser, she said, well, that is so funny. Gosh. But you know what? He was shady in the beginning when he was introducing it. He said it doesn't sound like fun.
Right, exactly.
It's the way
So you knew it was coming.
said it.
Losers.
I didn't know he was like that. That's funny.
Well, I never even heard the phrase nerdcore until I saw that. It's like I didn't know it was a thing. Apparently, it is in the minds of some people, but
that's funny. Super funny.
Yeah, Karen, I'm with you. Now it's time to go research Mar-a-Lago till next week.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the Truth Social is going to be a buzz. I guarantee it, and Telegram and everything else. I have a feeling the show tomorrow night and Thursday morning is going to be dwelling on that too. So
oh boy,
we'll see what happens, folks. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Lady Knievel says this loser says goodnight. So, does that mean you like nerdcore? Nerdcore.
That's so funny.
Joanne, hello everyone. Dang, just finished our dinner and was hoping to catch this earlier.
Oh.
Well, you can catch the recording. You'll enjoy the show, I guarantee it. Yeah, Karen, I believe it will backfire. I think everything right now is about exposure and introducing things into the public eye. So I'm going to stick with that. And I will say this, they're getting desperate because if you don't know who Greg Phillips is and Catherine Engelbrecht of True the Vote, Greg's about to release, it's called The Pit and The Ripcord. These are the guys that got all the data on all the mules in 2,000 mules, and they have a bunch more. They have they're going to release all the video footage they have, which they have. I can't remember how many hours he said. It was like an ungodly amount of hours and terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of video footage. And all the other data that they have, they're going to release it to the public. So anybody can do their own research, do their own digging, and come up to their own conclusions. So it's basically going to get released out into the new media are going to run with it. And I'm sure it'll be a lot of research and a lot of time spent on it. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of revelation. They've actually been running intercession prayer meetings this week to protect those guys, or to help protect those guys, because their lives literally are in danger when they release this. So that's going to drop sometime here in the next however long.
Mm-hmm.
So I guarantee this is a preemptive strike, so to speak, because they're desperate. So
okay.
Anyway, and also don't be surprised if they figure out a way to stop the election in November. And I brought this up on the show last week. Mm-hmm. My guess is that they're trying to get into these wars because they want to be able to declare martial law and then keep people from voting because they canceled the election until this perpetual martial law or whatever they end up doing. I don't know if it'll be martial law. It could be something else. Mm-hmm. But there's no way they're going to win. And they know that this is their last stand, because once that election happens, they're out of power for good. And so I guarantee there will be something that happens that they will try to keep people from voting, whether it's canceling the election, which I don't think they can do, but something will happen that will lead to something like that. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind anyway.
That makes sense. I mean, because the they can't possibly do another pandemic and do a quarantine of healthy people. That's not going to work anymore. And it's just this nuclear crap. That's pretty disturbing that they could do.
Well, the direction I'm leaning towards, and that's why I kind of keep bringing it up. That I think that they're that desperate that they will go to that dirty bomb kind of thing, or a direct attack from somebody like North Korea or China or whatever. I think something's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and it's going to seem crazy for a while.
Because when you think about it, it's this whole midterm that they have to do it because they can't possibly do anything else like they did before. They're in a corner, and the midterm is it. So you're right. I could see that they have to amp it up for something they've not done so far. They've crapped out with everything, but they've done damage. I mean, with this pandemic, I mean, they did a lot of damage. And
even with the Summer of Love and all those, peaceful protests that they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I think God's about to step in and show everybody who's boss here too. So
yeah, definitely. Because I mean, it's people that know are sensing that the other side has to shoot their shot, as they say, like, and do something really stupid, like top all the stupid that they've done so far, which is unbelievable to think that they could top it. But they still have room.
They're going to try. I guarantee it. They're not going to go out quietly. This literally is their last stand, literally. Because once this red wave happens, you're going to see committees formed in Congress and in the Senate that are going to do real investigation into what happened in 2020 and earlier. And you're going to see people go to jail. You're going to see people get indicted. There's just you're going to see real investigations, and they're afraid of these committees that are going to pop up in the new conservative-controlled or Republican-controlled Congress and Senate. So, and then you have whoever is in the resident's office is not going to have any power because they're not going to be able to pass anything through Congress or Senate. I mean, it's not going to happen. So literally taking their teeth away. And then the people are so fed up with it, they're never going to let it happen again. So every election from this day forward, they're going to be paying close attention to who they elect into office. And so this is desperate times, folks, and desperate people do desperate things. So just keep your head on a swivel, stay frosty. And if you see something, say something. I say it all the time. See something, say something. Don't be afraid. This is a time you have to be strong. You can't be afraid. Do the right thing, as it were. So, yeah, Lady Knievel, this Marine volunteers for the manning the firing squads. Nice. I'm looking forward to the gallows, but anyway. So I hope you guys got something out of this. I know this was a little bit of weird, unusual, but it is what it is. So love you guys for being here.
Thank you.
You guys are such a great chat and great audience. Jennifer, thank you again for taking time in your busy schedule. I know you have a massive undertaking going on down there in Southern Georgia.
Thank you. I appreciate everything, John. Thank you. Love you all. And
yes, love you guys.
Thank you so much.
And enjoy the rest of the week.
Yes.
Until next time. Hopefully we'll still have the internet and we'll still be on this channel. But until next time.
All right.
See you guys later. Have a good night.
Okay. You too.